Karoline Leavitt stood on the Hannity stage at Fox News, the spotlight casting a sharp glow on her deep blue suit. At just 27, the White House press secretary's heart hammered in her chest, the tension thick before the high-stakes showdown. Minutes earlier, Robert Niro had stormed out, declaring, "Trump is a disaster, and Leavitt is his puppet." His brief cutting attack sent the crowd into a frenzy, applause mixed with whistles ringing out. Karoline gripped the microphone tightly, her eyes fierce and unyielding, never flinching under the gaze of millions watching live. Niro, a two-time Oscar winner and media titan, exuded confidence, certain he'd outshine this young MAGA woman. But Karoline, fueled by her Catholic faith and unwavering loyalty to Trump, saw this moment as her chance to prove him wrong. She stepped into the light, ready to turn the stage into her battlefield. This wasn't just a debate, it was Karoline's moment to flip the script and steal the spotlight from Niro. Before diving in, a quick reminder, comment where you're watching from, and don't forget to subscribe for the latest updates. The studio buzzed under bright lights as the audience fell silent. Robert Niro stood center stage, his black suit tailored perfectly, eyes cold and sharp like the Vito Corleone role he once owned. The camera slowly panned over scattered applause rising from the liberal side, as Sean Hannity introduced Hollywood. Legend and never afraid to speak his mind, Robert Niro. Niro nodded, grabbed the mic, and wasted no time throwing his first punch. "I'm here to say one thing," his deep voice rolled out. "Donald Trump is the biggest disaster America's ever seen, and Karoline Leavitt, the Gen Z kid, is his newest puppet. A mouthpiece who knows nothing beyond reading the scripts Trump shoves into her hands." The crowd erupted. MAGA supporters whistled in protest. Liberals clapped wildly. The air in the studio heated like a furnace. Niro leaned forward, his left hand raised like a seasoned actor, eyes sweeping the crowd. "You think I'm kidding?" he sneered, his thick New York accent slicing through the room. "I've seen guys like Trump, con men, all flash and no substance. I've played gangsters in movies, but Trump, he's the real gangster. And Leavitt, she's just his childish lackey. 27 hasn't lived enough to understand what's going on, and she dares stand before the nation as a spokesperson for a clown." Laughter burst from the liberal side. Phones popped up to capture his words. Knowing they'd soon flood the internet, Niro didn't stop. He stepped aside, pointing directly at the camera, as if talking to Karoline backstage. "She's the youngest press secretary in history, right? Sounds impressive, but what has she actually done besides cover for Trump? Look at the signal leak. She accidentally let the world see Trump's plans by adding a reporter to the chat. I don't know if she's incompetent or playing some kind of game, but if that's how she represents the American people, we're in serious trouble." The audience howled with laughter. Someone shouted, "Right on, Bobby!" Niro smirked, as if landing a knockout punch with ease. Sean Hannity tried to jump in. "Bob, she's coming out to face you right now. What do you think?" But Niro cut him off sharply, voice sharper than before. "Face me? I'd love that. I want to see her explain how she justifies being Trump's puppet, a guy I've called a danger for years." I stood outside his courthouse, told the crowd to their faces he's unfit to lead. And now, here he is again, with a Gen Z kid as his megaphone. It's shameful. He waved dismissively as the crowd split, half cheering, half booing loudly. Pacing the stage, Niro's voice dropped low, dripping with drama like his iconic roles. "In Bickle and Taxi Driver, you know I'm not just talking for fun. I've seen America through decades. I grew up on real streets, not fake mansions like Trump. I make movies. I built a media empire. I live real. Trump, he just destroys and lies. Leavitt, she's the young face he uses to fool people. Like, look, I'm modern, but she's not fooling me. Yeah, she's got Catholic faith. Prays every day, fine. But if she's praying to cover for Trump, even God can't save her." Laughter erupted again, louder this time. A few people stood, clapping. Niro paused, turning his gaze toward the backstage where Karoline waited. Furious. "Karoline, I know you hear me," he said, voice dripping with challenge. "You tweet you're not afraid of anyone, that you'll defend Trump at all costs. So come out here, I want to hear you. No edits, no scripts, just the truth. But I'll warn you, I don't go easy. I've fought bigger than you my whole life, from film sets to politics. I've never lost." He pointed firmly toward the wings as the crowd roared with applause, the tension snapping tight like a drawn bowstring. Niro sat down, tapping the table lightly, a smug grin painted on his face. She wants to be Trump's mouthpiece. Fine. But this fight was just getting started. Don't expect me to stay quiet when she steps out, Niro sneered. I'm here to expose Trump, Leavitt, and the whole crew. This isn't a movie, it's real life. And I'll show the country how she falls. He winked at Hannity, who laughed loudly. Karoline, you hear that? He's ready. The crowd erupted in cheers, phones raised high, all eyes locked on the wings where Karoline Leavitt prepared to emerge. Backstage, Karoline stood just behind the curtain, the stage lights casting a faint glow on her determined face. Niro's words echoed. In her mind, Gen Z puppet, clueless kid. Each one a dagger, but she didn't tremble. Her deep blue suit hugged her frame, blonde hair neatly tied back, fists clenched, eyes blazing with fire. This was Fox News turf. She'd appeared on Fox and Friends before, and she wasn't about to let Niro win. Turning to her assistant, her voice sharp, she asked, "Where's that old Niro clip?" The assistant held up an iPad. Here. He praised Obama in 2016. Karoline smirked. Good. Send it to production. I want it on screen when I go out. As the stage lights hit her full force, Karoline stepped out from backstage. Her high heels clicked confidently on the floor, the deep blue suit accentuating her petite but resolute frame. The ad break music faded, and Sean Hannity raised a hand. And here's Karoline Leavitt, White House press secretary, ready to face Robert Niro. The crowd exploded. MAGA supporters thundered with applause while liberals whistled in mockery. Karoline nodded slightly to Hannity, sweeping the room with her gaze before locking eyes with Niro. He sat with arms crossed, a smirk still plastered on his face, as if waiting for this 27-year-old to crumble under his earlier assault. But Karoline hadn't come to lose. She'd come to destroy. Gripping the mic, she stood tall, her voice ringing clear across the studio. Mr. Niro, I heard everything you just said. Gen Z puppet, clueless kid. You think you can stand there with your 2 Oscars and Goodfellas voice and humiliate me and President Trump in front of the nation? You're wrong. The room fell silent, stunned by her fierce confidence. Niro raised an eyebrow, smirking, but Karoline gave him no chance to interrupt. You called Trump a gangster and me a childish lackey. But have you looked at yourself? A Hollywood legend living in luxury off new hospitality, starring in flops like The Alto Nights. And you dare talk about failure? She paused, letting the words sink in. You've made millions playing tough guys, but in real life you're just an out-of-touch relic who doesn't understand the American people. Applause erupted from the MAGA side, some standing to cheer. Karoline stepped closer to the table, eyes locked on Niro. You mocked me over the signal leak. Fine, I didn't run that chat. But what do you know about accountability, Mr. Niro? You stood outside Trump's courthouse, called him a malignant narcissist. But have you ever looked in the mirror? She signaled production, and the big screen lit up. An old 2016 clip played. Niro in a gray suit, grinning on CNN. I like how Obama handles things. He's smart. He's got vision. The clip froze as Karoline turned back to Niro, voice cutting. That's you praising Obama, the man Trump beat to bring the change millions of Americans wanted. So who's the hypocrite here? You hate Trump, but you backed what he fixed. I may be young, but at least I'm not pretending like you. The crowd erupted again. Applause and whistles shaking the studio. Niro gripped his chair, face flushing. Clearly caught off guard by this 27-year-old's sharp comeback, he opened his mouth to retort, but Karoline cut him off. I'm not done, Mr. Niro. You say I'm Trump's puppet. I'm here because I believe in what we're doing. Making America strong again. from the economy to the border. She paused, eyes blazing. And you? Who do you represent besides Hollywood elites? You live in mansions, open new restaurants, while I grew up in New Hampshire in a middle-class family, knowing what Americans need. She let the question hang as the MAGA crowd erupted in cheers. Who's really out of touch? Karoline challenged. Karoline leapt up as shouts of, "Karoline! Karoline!" echoed from every corner of the studio. Hannity laughed loudly, raising a hand as if to calm the frenzy. But Leavitt wasn't finished. She stepped forward, pointing directly at Darrow. "You mock my faith," she said, voice fierce. "Say I pray to cover for Trump. I pray for strength, strength you don't understand, because you only play tough on screen. I don't need Oscars to prove myself. I've got the American people behind me." Applause rippled through the studio, even some neutrals nodding, swept up by her momentum. Darrow leaned back in his chair, hands trembling, his smug grin replaced by rare unease. Leavitt leaned in, voice low but clear through the mic. "You want unedited truth? Here it is. Trump won because the people chose him, not you. I'm 27, but I've worked for him since college. From the White House to the campaign. I'm not a puppet. I'm a voice for millions. And you? You're done." The Alto Knights lost $40 million, she added, eyes locked on him. "What standing do you have to talk about success or failure?" Darrow shot up, pointing at her. "You think you're clever, huh? I fought bigger battles than you my whole life." But his voice faltered, lacking conviction. The crowd broke into mocking whistles. Leavitt smiled faintly, eyes never leaving him. "Fight who you want," she said. "But today, you lost. I'm not here for your amusement. I'm here to show the country how wrong you are." Turning to the audience, she raised her hand. "Who agrees with me that Mr. Darrow should retire?" The room exploded, clapping, cheering, whistling, blending into a victory symphony. Hannity jumped up, clapping and laughing. "Karoline, you just made this stage yours." Leavitt settled back across from Darrow, legs crossed, gaze steady. He stared, back, hands gripping the chair arms, face flushed as if slapped. "You're good," he muttered, just loud enough for the mic. "But I'm not done." Leavitt shrugged. "Neither am I, Mr. Darrow. Ask away, if you dare." The clip of Leavitt playing, the old video and delivering her "You're done" line, hit the web instantly via Fox News' team. Within seconds, drawn Leavitt feeds Darrow was trending on X, viewers at home sharing it frantically. Darrow sat there, eyes darkening, blindsided by the counterpunch. Leavitt's mix of Fox News sharpness and Trump loyalty had turned his attack into her springboard. This wasn't just a comeback. It was peak destruction. The nation watched a Gen Z star take down a Hollywood legend, live on air. Robert Darrow sat across from her, hands clenched on the chair's arms, face flushed as if his 81-year reputation had been slapped, his eyes darkened, smug grin gone, replaced by anger tangled with confusion. Leavitt had turned him from Hollywood icon to punchline. "You're done. You live in luxury mansions." Each word was a knife to his pride. Sean Hannity, still standing, between them, laughed loudly. "Bob, got anything to say? She just lit this studio up." But Darrow didn't laugh. He took a deep breath, stood, and pointed straight at Leavitt, voice trembling, but trying to sound steely. "You think you're so smart, kid?" he growled, his deep Goodfellas tone now tinged with strain. "You dare stand here in front of me, using old clips to lecture me? Who do you think you are to say I'm done?" The room hushed, waiting for a sharp comeback, but his words lacked their usual punch. Leavitt sat, legs crossed, gaze unflinching. "You're Trump's puppet." I was right. Niro pressed on, hand raised like on a Broadway stage. "You're 27. Haven't lived enough to know what's what, and you dare come on Fox News to teach me about truth? I've seen guys like Trump. He's a menace, and you're just his megaphone." Mocking whistles rose from the MAGA side, a few yelling, "Sit down, Bob." Niro spun toward them, eyes blazing. "You want me quiet? I won't shut up. I'm here for the truth. Trump's unfit, and so is she." But his voice wavered, unconvincing. Laughter broke out. Hannity cut in, hand raised to ease the tension. "Bob, cool it. Leavitt brought receipts. How do you answer that clip?" Niro turned back, pointing at the now dark screen showing the old video. "So what if I can change my mind? I'm not a puppet like her, reading Trump's script word for word." But his retort only fueled louder jeers. Someone shouted, "Really done now, Bobby?" Leavitt leaned forward, smiling faintly. "You want to talk about scripts? I don't need anyone to write my words. But what about you, Mr. Niro? You've lived off scripts your whole life, from The Godfather to The Irishman. I'm here because I believe in what I say." The crowd clapped louder this time. Niro gripped the mic tightly, face beet red, as if about to explode. "Don't get cocky with me," he shouted, hands trembling. "I built my career from nothing in Little Italy, not thanks to Trump or Fox News. I've got now. I've got films. What do you have besides a mouth reading his orders?" But the MAGA audience's applause drowned him out. Another round of laughter erupted as someone yelled, "The Alto Knights lost 40 million, Bob." Hannity threw his head back, laughing loudly. "Karoline, you've got him fired up now." Niro turned sharply to Hannity, voice cutting. "She's not firing me up. She's just an arrogant kid. I've been fighting Trump since she was in diapers. I stood outside his courthouse, spoke straight to the crowd. And her." He paused, sneering. "She just prays and covers up." But his words felt hollow. Leavitt's reply was calm, steady. "I pray for strength, Mr. Niro. What do you pray for when the Alto Knights flop that hard?" Laughter exploded through the studio. Niro stepped back, dropping the mic on the table, his gaze blank. The commercial break hit, but the tension didn't. When the show resumed, Niro still sat there, struggling to regain composure. "I'm fun, not done," he muttered, glaring at Leavitt. "You want to play this game? I'll show the country who you really are, a childish opportunist." His voice trembled. The audience no longer rallied behind him. Hannity shrugged and smirked. "Bob, you scored points. What do you have left to turn this around?" Niro paused, then said quietly, "I don't need to turn it around. I'm Robert Niro, and she's nothing." After the show, Niro left the studio with a dark expression, his team scurrying behind him. He got in his car, opened his phone, and typed a tweet from his official account. "Karoline Leavitt is arrogant, but Trump's still the biggest danger. I didn't lose today." The tweet posted, but the first reply came from a MAGA account. "You lost, Bob. Go retire." He tossed the phone onto the seat, hands shaking, clearly unable to accept defeat. The next day, Niro appeared on CNN, trying to strike back. "She thinks she's clever, but I've seen it all. I've fought Trump for years, and she's just his shadow." Back at Fox News, as Hannity's stage lights dimmed, applause and whistles still echoed through the studio. The audience buzzed from the showdown between Karoline Leavitt and Robert Niro. Leavitt sat, legs crossed, gaze steady, a faint smile flickering like a gladiator sosking in victory. Darrow's face flushed, hands limp on the chair's arms, eyes darkened. Clearly, no longer in control of the narrative, Sean Hannity stood between them, raising a hand and laughing. What did you just witness? Karoline Leavitt made this stage hers. The crowd erupted one last time. MAGA supporters cheered and chanted, "Karoline! Karoline!" while liberals whispered, shaking their heads in disbelief that the 81-year-old legend had been taken down by a 27-year-old. But the drama didn't end in the studio. Minutes later, social media exploded like a bomb. The nation started picking sides. Fox News' production team swiftly posted the highlight clip to X as the show wrapped, Leavitt playing Darrow's old Obama praising clip, followed by her razor-sharp line, "You're done, Mr. Darrow." Within 30 seconds. Leavitt feeds. Darrow rocketed to the top trending list, racking up tens of thousands of tweets. Conservatives, especially the MAGA crowd, dove into the fray like they'd found a new heroine. A prominent account with over 500,000 followers tweeted, "Karoline Leavitt just knocked out Darrow. Gen Z 1, Hollywood 0. The post, paired with a photo of Leavitt at the mic, eyes blazing, racked up thousands of likes within minutes. Another wrote, "She's 27 and made Darrow tremble. This is MAGA's comeback queen," alongside a video clip of Leavitt saying, "You live in luxury mansions." The moment spread like wildfire. Memes flooded X like a tidal wave. The fastest spreading image showed a red-faced Darrow, hands shaking, captioned, "When you think you're a Goodfellas gangster but get schooled by Gen Z." A fan-edited short video pairing Leavitt's "You're Done" with a silent Darrow from The Irishman hit over 200,000 views in an hour. A MAGA account posted, "Karoline just showed Darrow Fox News isn't Hollywood's playground. Retire, Bob," with a picture of Leavitt raising her hand to the crowd, pulling thousands of retweets. Trump supporters across the platform dubbed her Killer Karoline, one tweeting, "Trump didn't pick her for show. She's a real fighter." Meanwhile, Darrow's fans spiraled into chaos. Some scrambled to defend him. On X, the reactions were immediate and fierce. Some loyal supporters defended him. "Darrow's a legend. This kid just used cheap tricks." But even they couldn't deny the loss. One devoted fan wrote, "I love Bob, but he got smoked. Leavitt was too sharp. He simply couldn't keep up." Another posted a meme of a taxi driver saying, "You talking to me? Yeah, and you lost." Comments piled up. He thought he was untouchable. But Karoline showed the country he's done. Some hit harder. Darrow went too far, mocking her faith. Now he's paying for it. Embarrassing. The clip of the crowd laughing when Leavitt mentioned the Alto Knights' $40 million loss was shared thousands of times with captions like, "She turned Bob into a joke." The media quickly jumped in. Fox News posted, "Right after Karoline Leavitt teaches Robert Darrow a lesson in truth. Hail her as the future of the conservative movement." A Fox and Friends commentator tweeted, "She just made Darrow an example. Don't mess with Trump's Gen Z." Liberal outlets fired back. CNN acknowledged Leavitt scored points but warned, "She's still Trump's mouthpiece. Don't be fooled." A Variety piece stirred debate over Darrow's rare defeat, noting he underestimated his young opponent. Even critics admitted, "She's smarter than we thought. That old clip was a perfect hit." At a local bar, a middle-aged man in a MAGA hat told his friend, "She made me proud." Took down Darrow right on Fox's home turf. Nearby, a leaning liberal woman shook her head. "I like Bob, but she was too sharp. He didn't stand a chance." Phones everywhere lit up with clips of Leavitt's "You're done" line, flooding Instagram and YouTube at breakneck speed. 1. User wrote, "This is the drama of the year. Karoline 1, Niro 0. Niro meltdown started rivaling Karoline Leavitt TV's. Niro himself fired off a standout tweet, raging but ultimately doing nothing to turn the tide. Karoline had won. Hands down. As Hannity wrapped the show, the fallout from the Karoline Leavitt-Robert Niro clash didn't just stay in the Fox News studio or on social media. Leavitt left the stage with a faint smile, eyes steady, her deep blue, suit still crisp as when she walked in. Niro's face was dark as he hurried off with his team, hands clutching his phone after his angry tweet. But this battle wasn't just a dramatic moment. It left a lasting impact, reshaping their images in the eyes of the public, the media, and American politics. Leavitt, once mocked, became a new conservative icon. Niro, once untouchable, faced a serious dent in his reputation. In the White House, Leavitt's win was celebrated like a triumph. Hours after the show, Donald Trump tweeted, "Karoline Leavitt was fantastic. She just showed Niro and the fake Hollywood crowd the truth. Very proud." This public praise wasn't just a pat on the back. It signaled that Leavitt, at 27, had solidified her place in Trump's inner circle. Close advisors like Stephen Miller and Kayleigh McEnany, who doubted she could take on a heavyweight like Niro, now had to admit her skill. An insider told Fox News, "Trump loved that performance. She didn't just survive, she crushed him on home turf." Leavitt's later White House briefings drew unprecedented attention. Reporters probing about Signal or Trump were met with new confidence. "I faced Niro. These questions don't faze me," she said, her smile silencing the room. Conservatives quickly crowned Leavitt the Gen Z star of MAGA. Charlie Kirk, a prominent conservative host, tweeted, "Karoline Leavitt is the future, youth, faith, and fearless. She just taught Hollywood a lesson." Breitbart raved, "At 27, she did what veteran politicians wouldn't dare. Took down Niro before millions." Small polls on X showed huge MAGA support, with one user writing, "She crushed Niro. Put her in the Senate." The killer Karoline. Persona spread, turning her from a young spokesperson into an icon of a new conservative generation, not just loyal to Trump, but able to fight and win on the media battlefield. Not everyone saw Leavitt's win as positive. Liberals and Niro loyalists called it a staged stunt to appease Trump. A Daily Beast piece argued, "Leavitt's just a talking puppet. Using an old clip doesn't make her good. Just well-trained." An MSNBC commentator said, "She's sharp, but don't forget she still speaks for Trump, who Niro rightly calls a danger." Still, even detractors acknowledged her savvy. A CNN journalist admitted Niro underestimated her, and now she had a spotlight conservatives would milk dry. The Signal fiasco, once a weakness, faded behind her image as a fearless warrior. For Niro, the aftermath was a rare reputation shock. He appeared on CNN the next day trying to regroup. "She's arrogant, but Trump's still the big issue. I didn't lose. I'm just speaking truth." But his voice lacked vigor, and viewers saw he'd lost the narrative. Loyal fans defended him on X. Niro's a legend. One loss doesn't change that. But others were blunt. He just got humiliated by Leavitt. He's done. Variety wrote, Niro's rare misstep caught many by surprise. He hadn't expected Gen Z to hit back so hard. Critics said he overreached, especially by mocking Leavitt's faith, which made him look like a bully. And she made him pay for it. One fan tweeted, "Niro's legacy didn't collapse. He still has 2 Oscars and fans from The Godfather to The Irishman." But this clash left a big scratch. Media analysts noted, Niro excels against easy targets, but facing Leavitt, who fights back, threw him off. The Atlantic questioned whether, at 81, he still fit modern political battles, asking if he remained the potent anti-Trump voice of old. Some fans suggested he stick to acting in films like the upcoming Zero Day, rather than sparring with young challengers like Leavitt. For Leavitt, the victory proved youth isn't a weakness. At 27, she flipped Diro's Gen Z puppet jab, using his own 2016 words, turning the attack against him. A novice once helping Kayleigh McEnany run for Congress, Leavitt sharpened her edge on Fox News. Her Catholic faith, shared openly on CBN, isn't just personal motivation. It connects her with millions of conservative Americans. When Trump tweeted, "Very proud," it wasn't just praise. It marked Leavitt as the face of a new MAGA generation, young, tough, and unafraid to challenge elites. She didn't just defend Trump. She proved Gen Z can lead politically, making Fox News her battleground. Niro, by contrast, represents a fading era. With 2 Oscars and a resume stretching from Goodfellas to The Irishman, he was once Hollywood's untouchable anti-Trump titan, roaring outside Trump's courthouse. But this clash revealed he's out of step with today's fast-paced media battles. At 81, he underestimated Leavitt, assuming experience would crush youth. Instead, her sharp jabs. "You're done." Alto Knights lost 40 million ballion, flustered him, and exposed a disconnect with a modern audience. His legacy endures. Fans still call him a legend, but this dent suggests old Hollywood sway is waning against savvy young conservatives like Leavitt. The story of Karoline Leavitt destroys Robert Niro on live TV. His furious reaction goes viral mirrors. America's deep polarization and shifting power today. A nation where media, social media, and generational clashes shape how truth and influence are perceived. At 27, Leavitt used Diro's own clip to flip his Gen Z puppet attack, making him look like a relic on Fox News. Niro, 81, raged back but faltered. Social media exploded with hashtags like Leavitt BS, Niro Gen Z1 Boomers 0, and memes celebrating Trump's praise. This wasn't just drama. It was a snapshot of modern America, where youth challenge experience, and whoever controls the narrative on platforms like X or TikTok holds real power. The real-life lesson? Never underestimate your opponent, and always have your own ammunition ready, whether at work, in debates, or on social media. Leavitt won by studying Niro, using his own words to strike back, and rejecting the puppet label, a tactic anyone can apply when facing criticism. Niro lost due to overconfidence, assuming Goodfellas fame would be enough. Unprepared for Leavitt's sharpness, it's a mistake to avoid when dealing with younger colleagues or rivals in a US where a Trump tweet or on Karoline knockout hashtag can shift public perception in hours. Take Leavitt's cue. Stand up, wield facts as weapons, and define your story before someone else does. Whether Gen Z or Boomer, power lies in readiness and smarts, not just age or past glory. Thanks for watching Karoline Leavitt take down Niro in this peak media drama. Hit subscribe so you don't miss the next fiery battle. See you in the upcoming video, where we'll dive into who Killer Karoline's next opponent might be.